over 7,000 households face eviction within the next 3 months. We hear this morning of 15,000 tenancies exiting the market. If you'd known about the level of households facing eviction, or maybe you did you know that when you made the decision on ending the eviction ban? Because we're only hearing about that in the last 24 hours.
Not the exact number, but we did know, and I think everyone knows that for a number of years now, we've seen an exodus of small landlords from the rental market. It's been, I think it's 40,000 over the last 5 years have left the rental market. So we were certainly aware that that was an issue, and that's one of the things that's contributing to the housing crisis. And the view that Minister Bryan took, which I supported very strongly, was that continuing the ban for longer would have caused more landlords to exit the market, thus making the problem worse later. And that's fundamentally one of the decisions why we decided not to continue with it.
I get that, and there's certainly logic to that, but is the reality that we are now facing, at least in the short term, a tsunami of evictions? That term is being used a lot.
Well, but look, it depends on what people mean by that. It's absolutely the case that we're in the middle of a very deep housing crisis. I don't think anyone is in denial about that or doesn't get that. There are areas where we are making a lot of progress. You know, more new homes built last year than any year in 10. More social housing built last year than any year since 1975, and we're seeing record numbers of first-time buyers, and that's encouraging. In December and January, we had more first-time buyers than any year in 13. May even be the case. We'll know when the census figures come out. Some of the economists are speculating that we may already be seeing home ownership starting to increase again, and that would be a very positive thing. But one of the areas that is in a terrible state is the rental market, and that's in part because of inadequate social housing, and in part because small landlords are leaving en masse. None of these homes that are being vacated are going to be vacant for long. A lot of them are going to be bought by first-time buyers, people who at the moment might be living with their parents or living in overcrowded accommodation. Some will be occupied by people who've gone abroad for a few years, maybe teachers coming back from Dubai, or maybe a guard or a doctor to live down the country. In some cases, it's that they're going to go to family members. So
some will be put back on the market at ramped up rates by maybe a few unscrupulous landlords.
Well, if they're put back on the market to rent again at a higher rate, rent. Well,
we're hearing anecdotal stories about that happening.
Look, no matter what laws you have, somebody will break them. No matter what regulations you have, people will flout them, and that happens. That just happens, but that's where enforcement comes in.
Okay.
But I do hear these kind of stories sometimes that people, serve a notice of termination on a tenant and then put it back out to rent at a higher rate, or put it out to Airbnb, for example.
We've all heard those
that
stories.
is absolutely illegal. I know that happens, but it's very clear that that's illegal, and enforcement action will be taken.
Can we quickly deal with the charge put by Father Peter McVerry that you overrode the authority of the housing minister in insisting that the eviction ban would end? And the spokesperson for you yesterday emphatically denied that. Peter McVerry standing over, he said, the public will have to decide whether to believe me or the government, but I think the evidence points in my direction. Did you override the housing minister?
No, that claim is 100% untrue, and there is zero evidence to support it. So the Minister for Housing, Darragh Bryan, recommended back in October that we put in place a temporary winter eviction ban, and the government, including me, agreed with that recommendation. And a few weeks ago, on foot of advice from his officials, 3 options were put before the party leaders, and he recommended option 1, which was that we should not continue with the temporary winter eviction ban for reasons he's explained. So that's
okay.
The absolute 100% truth of it. And like I say, the claim is 100% untrue and zero evidence to support it.